Hi, everybody. My name is Fortina, and welcome to another episode of Strong and Bold. Today, we are going to talk about effective or good communication skills. We are going to talk about verbal and nonverbal um, skills, like communication style. And then we're going to talk about listening, emotional awareness, responding, and use of body language. So, body language comes across um, nonverbal communication. So we often hear communication is a big thing in life, in relationships, in how we talk to others. But talking and communicating is different thing. You can, for example, when you're watching a movie, you can be watching a movie and you are doing other things, or you are not actively participating in the movie. So you can keep on asking what's happening in this scene, what happened next, because you are busy doing something or you are busy scrolling on your phone. That is an example of like people are talking but you're not actively listening. So it comes across that sometimes women feel not heard, and also not just women, many people, but it comes across like women like to nag. The thing is, I feel that women don't like nagging, but they just not being heard. So for example, if I say something, same thing 500 times in a day. Okay, for example, if you're a mom and you're like, pick up your socks in the morning, pick up your clothes, number, pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. So it comes across like you're nagging. But then it comes, it is about how we communicate and how people receive the communication. So for instance, when we are communicating, we should be in a space where the other person or the other people, they are actively listening. So for example, I'll talk for young people, that is children. So if you want to talk to your children like, hey buddy, can you switch off the TV or can you pause the show, I want to tell you something. After you watch the show, maybe in 5 minutes, can you pick up your clothes or do a particular chore, rather than, hey, can you go pick up your chore, you know. And I understand it's a sensitive topic too, because sometimes you get to that point where like you have tried all this, but then sometimes it's like practice makes perfect, over time and consistency. But I'm going to talk about adult communication ways, not in adult spaces, especially like relationship. Communication is a big thing, but also we are not taught communication in school. That is that is also equivalent equals to self-development. Like in school, we attend school, and like that could be tertiary, could be primary. We learn education, we get education, but we do not learn how to be good human beings, like how to be good people, how to nurture for others. So these are extra, I'll say extra milestones that we need to go through as human beings or as people to develop our skills, because I believe we all have hidden skills within us, but we need to harness them for them to come out. So for instance, when we have a career, we go to career development workshops, right? But we never go to development, to spaces or places that can develop us as individuals. So for example, if I know I am a bad communicator, how do I develop that skill to be effectively communicating with the people around me, my partner, my children, or even at work? So if I do not listen to people, like even like getting feedback, it's hard for me to receive feedback. How do I work on myself in that space to be able to to be able to nurture myself and receive feedback? You see what I mean? So we can go through life getting PhDs, masters, all kind of qualifications, but I strongly feel it's also important having two things: developing ourselves personally and developing ourselves in all the areas of our lives. Like if you know you want to be more financial stable, you might think of getting a new job or upskilling, right? To get your dream job, or to get paid the money you want to be paid. But now if you also want to match your personal traits with your career goals, you need to balance that out. So let's say if I know there's a weakness in me in one point of my life, I also need to acknowledge that weakness and work through that weakness. So I have seen over the years in my career, I've been practicing for over like 10 years in Australia. And I see that not just in Australia, like I see you can have a nice manager, but they might have like personal struggles, which we all do. But then it's like that personal struggle outshines their character or their qualities as a manager, you know? So I feel that it's important for us as individuals to upskill and to elevate in all the areas of our lives, especially when it comes to personal development. We shouldn't be just be doing personal development for our careers or our goals, but we should also be able to do personal development in ourselves. And how does that look like? That could look like going to therapy. That could be looking like doing more research about yourself, being more self-awareness, which is really hard, and many people don't even know who they really are. You can be Fortina on the surface, but what are those parts or those qualities that makes up Fortina? That's the question that many people don't even think about themselves. So back to our communication style. So listening is not just like someone is talking onto you, you get the words that you want, or you get the phrases or the idea that is suitable for you. So you can say a whole sentence, somebody catches one word because that is where maybe they're sensitive towards that word. Or you can say a whole paragraph and somebody is able to engage with you. They know when you start talking and where you are pausing, where you're putting exclamation mark. They can even read your body language. They can even read your message. There's a way you can write a message and then somebody can like, okay, scan through, like, oh, okay, cool, she's fine. And then you maybe even missed a question mark. So listening, it's just more than hearing someone talking. Listening is actively listening. What does this person want to communicate? And you can even rephrase back, did I understand you correctly? Is this what you mean? Is this what you want me to do? Those kind of questions are also very important to ask when you are communicating with someone. So you kind of refresh back and say, let me try to understand you better. Is this what you mean? Is this what you're saying? Or how can I and help me understand you? I understand this is also not an ideal space. Like it takes time to practice good listening skills, not just because it's our profession, but also how it can be implied into our personal life. I'm guilty of this. Like sometimes when somebody's talking, it's like I already know the solution. So sometimes like I need to pause, think, reflect, then respond. Or sometimes I respond before because I have an idea of what's going on. So that's me personally. However, it's also not a good trait. So, but I remind myself this is my personal life, it's not my professional life. So to balance them out. So the other thing is responding. So when we respond, we don't respond how we feel, but we respond by acknowledging the other person, how they are feeling. So if someone comes to me and say, hey, I feel hurt or disappointed that A, B, C, D has occurred, or you did this to me, I will need to acknowledge how they feel, because those feelings they're feeling is valid. So for me, it might be a minor issue, but to them, it could be a big deal. And that's okay. We don't have to see things in the same light, but it's like I need to meet you where you are. And that's how I need to respond to you, because if you are here and I respond to you here, we're not going to be communicating. But if you are here and I'm responding to you here, we are also not going to be communicating. I need to come to your level and see if I understand what you're saying and what you're trying to tell me. So that's how we respond. So even reading messages, sometimes in workspaces, they might say 5 second rule, or like read a message, like read an email, um, wait for 5 minutes or 3 minutes before you respond, or even sleep over it and see if you're responding it appropriately. The same as messages. So if a friend, a family member, a spouse sends me a message, depending on the magnitude or the impact of the message, I can respond it in different spaces. So if it's a how are you doing? I'm like, yeah, my day is going well. But if it's like, oh, there's something that has happened and I need ABCD, then I might need to pause, think, reflect, and respond. Pause, think, reflect, and respond. But then sometimes, in terms of responding, we know at work we have 24 hours to respond to emails. And about phone call, the first ring, the second ring, the third ring, we need to respond to the phone call unless you're not even present. The same thing, it's courtesy sometimes. When you see, I'm talking about personal spaces. When you see someone has sent you a message and then it has taken like forever to respond, like 2 3 days 4 days, without even acknowledging I have received your message, I'll talk to you later, or even acknowledging I have seen your message but I don't have the time right now, let's schedule it. So even acknowledging like by a thumbs up or a love heart shows that yes, I have seen your message, but I don't have the right information right now or the time to respond to you. So simply these are the things that makes us better human beings and makes us safe people. So then the other thing is like use of body language. Like if now you're talking to me and I'm like, what does that tell you? I don't want to talk to you, or I'm not in the mood, or I'm already annoyed or pissed. So sometimes, like, yeah, you can talk to me, and I'm like, yeah, when are we finishing this? Like, my body language is like, will you be talking to me? No, because I'm already saying, like, when are we getting over this? So sometimes we can say, yeah, I'm available to talk to, but then again, our body language is showing something different. So that also contradicts what we are saying with our mouth. So our expression says a lot of things. Like even when you type a message and you put an emoji, that's an expression in a way. So if you are happy, you can put smile. If you are sad, you can put angry or whatever emoji you want to use. So that is also an expression. So we need to be also aware of how we are responding with our body, with our facial features, with our body posture and our body language. What is it saying? Is it inviting, or is it saying like, please don't talk to me, do not approach? And that's okay if you are like in that space. Like sometimes people might know, like if somebody looks at you like this, it's like, I'm not ready for this, and then you drop the topic. Or if they look at you like, wow, I'm like, yeah, what's the tea? What's the tea? But then sometimes they're like, you can sense the people, if it's the right time to bring up that topic, or you need to prepare them before you drop that bombshell, right? And then the other one is emotional awareness. So sometimes we talk about when your cup is empty, you need to nurture yourself and you need to step back. So there's some topics like when you're not coping well, you're not sleeping well, things are not going well in your life, you need to pack and address them later. But then there's some things that hey, you can communicate and say, hey, at the moment I don't have the capacity for this topic or for this subject, but once I get back on my to my usual self, I'm happy for us to have this conversation. But also it's like, how does the other person feel? Because some people can come and emotion dump on you every single thing, and you like, what do I do with everything that is going on with all this information? So just being that aware of your emotional surroundings, of how you're feeling, how you're coping with your own self. How's that? How are you doing with your own self? But also, it's not fair for someone to be feeling a certain way but don't get a response. Like, let's say if I am upset, I am angry, or I feel hurt, and I address the issue, I say, this is how I feel, and this is why I've been maybe avoiding you. But then there's no communication happening there. So then those feelings don't simply go away because they're not addressed. They'll keep on piling up and piling up and piling up on an issue. Let's say an issue is communication, and I'm like, I do not like, or you told me I don't like how ABCD is done. So I know some people, like, they see a message, they assume like, okay, they have responded to it, or they have acknowledged it by them reading it without responding to the message or to the phone call. So sometimes, like, yes, you have seen the message, but does the other person know that you have received the message? Have you told them, like, thank you, I have received the message? Could it be as a space where you can just say, hey, I acknowledge I have hurt you, I'm sorry, and that's it, washes away all the issues? Or could it be like you're acting or playing defensiveness? Then that also piles up some other issues. So this is why I mean, like, emotional awareness. And then the other thing is just simple, is like, how do I want to be communicated to, and how am I communicating to others? So things like active listening skills, good communication skills, they are all things that we need to develop as human beings. Nobody's going to come and teach us how to be better human beings or how to communicate better. There's some people who have done their work, have healed and worked on themselves, and they can support you. But in order for you to also cultivate that nurturing space for them, you also need to improve some of these things, because it's like vice versa. Like, I feed you to feed me. It's not just like pouring, 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 taking without giving back. So we should cultivate a society where, or an environment where we are able to pour into others, and others are able to pour back into me. So I feel, as I said, some of this self-development, it's necessary, it's hard work, but also you need to acknowledge the skills that you lack personally in your personal life. So as you're developing your career goals, your career life, you also need to develop your personal goals and your personal life, because people don't teach you in school. You can be a doctor, but you can be a bad father. You can be a doctor, you can be a bad spouse. You see what I mean? So it's like, the more you are developing your career as a doctor, you also need to develop your career as a father, as a husband, as a partner, as a wife. So it's like, be the person you want to be for you. So if I want my husband to be this person for me, I need to be that wife for him. Does that make sense? Because we can't keep on be like, maybe trauma dumping on others, or maybe like blaming others, or maybe like inviting others into these broken spaces. It's okay to be vulnerable, but also we need to be accountable and be able to say, like, hey, I want to be better, and I want to get healed. I want to be the best version of myself. And how do I do that? How do I become the best version of myself? Is by healing, reflecting, personal developing, and the list goes on. So again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm only here to add a few insights here and there, because this is what I have seen over the years as a profession, but also in my personal life, that many people develop careers, but they don't develop their personal strengths or their personal abilities or their personal individualities. So stay blessed and see you in another episode of Strong and Bold. Bye.